So please help me to welcome Ian Black. Democracy is on the line.
No one pretends that democracy is perfect or all wise. Indeed, it is said that democracy is the worst form of government, except for all other forms of government that have been tried. That's a quote by Winston Churchill, 1947. Mr. Toastmaster and fellow communicators. Democracy is a very fragile thing. Democracy is very fragile, and it's like nature in a way. And nature is successful because it lives in balance with itself. Have you ever stood and stared at the floor of the forest? Have you ever noticed how all the plants, all the infinite variety that are there, work together to use the space without crowding, they're in cooperation? That's nature's way. This is the reason why democracy has been quite successful up till now. But today there are forces that are threatening democracy. And one of the forces that is particularly potent is social media. Now we're all drawn to social media because we are social creatures. We love to engage with each other and exchange ideas. That's why there's high traffic on all those incredible platforms like Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. But high traffic creates a lot of data. And data can be interpreted and data can be manipulated. And there are forces that gather data and apply it against existing voter lists at elections, and manipulation can happen. I recently watched a documentary on Netflix called The Great Hack. Make a note of that. It's how Cambridge Analytica, a London-based research company, used data obtained legally and sometimes illegally to manipulate elections around the world. Cambridge Analytica helped Donald Trump steal the US presidency. It's a pretty strong claim, and I'm going to tell you how. I don't think a lot of us are going to stop using social media anytime soon. I mean, you know, we like contacting our friends, we like doing all the things that go on with it. But we have to be aware of what is going on with social media. We have to be aware of the messages that come through our newsfeed. It's not what we're saying, it's what's being said to us that is important. Let me give you an example. Trinidad and Tobago, in the election of 2015. There are basically, in Trinidad and Tobago, there are two factions. There is the Aboriginal black population, and then there is the Indian immigrant population. And they have, over the years, historically gone back and forth. The Indian population wanted to actually win the election again, and they hired Cambridge Analytica to design a campaign to help them do that. And so what they did is they devised a campaign which had identified part of the black population that they could influence, and it was the youth. And they devised this campaign, do so. Basically, stand up to your parents and not vote. Not vote the way the parents had voted, but just basically not vote. They designed, you know, they had groups, they had rallies, they had all this, they hired actors with t-shirts on to do these dance videos, do all this stuff. And you know, it worked. They influenced the youth to not vote, and the Indian bloc won. Now, that was the same that happened in the Democrats of Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Because in the election of 2016, they were bombarded by very specific ads. Cambridge Analytica, using Russian stolen data from the Democratic Party, you all know that, matched that up with Facebook profiles and created specific ads, very specific ads targeted at specific people. And the thing that is really key about that is that it worked. And Hillary Clinton lost that election in those three things by just less than 77,000 votes. But this is key. The Trump campaign had 5.9 million Facebook ads. The Clinton campaign had only 66,000. And her ads were mostly about the benefits of how she saw the U.S., her vision for the U.S. The Trump campaign was mostly focused on crooked Hillary and all that other stuff that they created about her. You see these numbers, but to actually see the actual volume of it, you realize there was no way. And so those people who had some doubts sat on their hands and didn't vote. That's how important it is that we remain aware in this world of social media. It's important for each one of us to vote. It's not only important for each one of us to vote, it's important for each one of us to be engaged in encouraging other people, our friends and our family, in any way possible to get people out to vote. Now, I personally like the Australian model, where in 1922, they made it compulsory. And you know, out of the 96% of Australians who are eligible to vote, 90% vote. Which means it's more reflective of the will of the people. And do you know, in Australia, when they had a mass shooting, they got the government to pull in the guns. And they destroyed a lot of guns. Their mass shooting rates dropped precipitously. In the United States, the gun lobby has a stranglehold on the elected officials in the U.S., and all you get is a lot of words and, in respect to Chris, prayers. It doesn't change the law at all. So I encourage everybody to be part of the process, to encourage people to vote. That's our only defense, is numbers. Get out and vote. In the United States, it's 55% turnout. It's terrible. In Canada, it was 68.5%. Not bad, but not good enough. So I leave you with these wise words from a 3rd century philosopher, Aristotle. The most perfect political community is the one in which the middle class is in control and outnumbers both of the other class. Mr. Tabledown.